right. Good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital, nightly strategy podcast for March 27th, 2023. We'll start with the swing trade. So Alcoa, we started with the Kata 2 entry about around noon, and they're looking for that. The standard risk box. We're slightly in the positive. Caterpillar, we had a late SSC yesterday, and that closed really well today. And, it closed right about here, so we're holding about 0.5. That feels good. Cliff, intraday Kata 2 with a support level and a support level. It closed poorly that last little bit. It closed to break even, where it was up a little over 1. I thought hard about just cashing it there, but all of the metals had nice intraday moves, and I'm looking for them to recover tomorrow. CVS, this is one we missed. The indicated play was Friday here on the SSC, which would have allowed a capture of that gift today. But even if you discount this, this was a pretty nice trade. That's one that got away. But no harm, no foul. Can't catch them all. Devon Energy was an intraday on the turbo, and then this is the swing trade that was supporting that. And then this one, the swing, is about +3. And we'll see that one as the sniper trade of the day. Electronic Arts, that's one that gapped hard. We collected this one on Thursday. Friday's gap up closed pretty well, but today was just more sideways. So I'm treating that one as a critical state right here in the yellow zone, and I'll be ready to trade in either direction on that tomorrow. So no position on it, and it's stabilized at a critical state. Emerging markets, the short side trade continued and then recovered. I elected not to take this one, even though we did get a PSAR flip, but I'll be ready to treat this as a zero state, and I'll play the continuation back to the 10-day high. And if it were to break below here, what pattern would that be if we took the short on a violation of 38.25? What pattern would that be? Collapsing dragon, that's correct. And we could use that box, the daily bar, as the risk box. So that one is that is self-framing. Mexico was an SSC that we started on Friday. Actually, which, I treat that as an SSC, but it's really a Kata 2. All of that is support levels supporting this. So that was the entry on Thursday, and today was a gap up, and all it did was held. It did not fail at all, and so it closed very well. So we're holding 1 to about +3 on that one, and I like that one a lot. I'm looking for more on Brazil or on Mexico. Brazil was an intraday grinder, and we got a intraday kind of a Kata 2, and with the tight risk, I just collected the +1 and then no overnight risk because I had the risk in Mexico, which I liked better. Intel, we're just stalking that one the last 2 days. This was the run up on Friday morning, but then for the last 2 days it's kind of been in this tight channel, and you can see that this is collapsing into a zero state. So my intention is to play a breakout above the PSAR, or this little breakdown is already testing the collapsing dragon. So that's going to be my zero state right there. And I'll be ready to go long from here or short from there. and the target to the downside is 28.50, which when you look at that as the risk, you can see there's 1, 2, almost 3R to the bottom. And then the upside really has to come all the way back over here. And so there's a 1, 2, 3 on this one. This is a perfect fence sitter and critical state and setting up for a breakout. And so we don't have a directional bias. It's just Intel should be a clear directional trade tomorrow. This is one that I missed on international paper. This is, in retrospect, this is an obvious miss. The COTA 2 entry on the long side was there, and this little signal was the end of that channel trade with the PSAR. All I needed to have realized was that we had a COTA 2 and that this thing is trading in a clear channel on that 5-day channel, right? And so that was certainly there and just missed it. So we'll just keep stalking that one tomorrow. I would play the short on the PSAR break. There's just barely enough room on this to play the 2-to-1 to the upside. So you could actually treat that as your zero state and ready to go. I think that has some wheels for tomorrow. IYR, another one that I missed on Friday. That little exit would have played right back into this. So right now it's testing this resistance level, and you can see that the RL10 has already rolled over, and price itself broke through the PSAR soon. As soon as the RL10 breaks through, in other words, as soon as price falls like below 80.50, I think that's a reasonable short, looking for about 79 with about $1 or 50 cents risk, and then you have about 3 to the downside. So I like IYR on the short side especially. On the upside, if this holds and then breaks out above, call it 81.25, there's every reason to believe in this because the last move was here. It will have cleared this little R10 wiggle, and then the next price of significance is this one at about 83. So you get about a 4R to the upside. And then if you look at this little price wiggle here and say, well, what if you still have 2, and then that's your 50% retracement back to this peak. So I kind of like this one in both directions. I like IYR. And it's not a sexy, groovy name, so it responds in an orderly way. KRE, another one I missed on the Thursday sell-off. I was surprised by this move Friday, but this one has mellowed out right to here, and there was no further gains today. So I could make the argument that this is now going to be a COTA 2 to the downside and play back to 42, because there's nothing structural that has helped the little banks. So, I would take that one as a COTA 2 to the downside with a tight risk. It started on 3 minutes. Marijuana, this was one where on Friday we cashed that short. Today we watched it sell off further, establish a base, PSAR flip, and then took the SSC long with the standard risk to the bottom of the dragon. And that one is holding 1, 2. This one is +2 and working. And it cleared this little hump. And now the next target is going to be all the way back to 610. So that has room for another 3R to the upside. I like that one. That's one I will also preserve if it doesn't show any strength tomorrow, though. Clean energy, almost the same kind of trade here after the sell-off, but this is a COTA 2 entry, broke above the dragon, standard risk, closed at about a 0.3. And we'll give that a try tomorrow. I don't mind holding that one. Rivian, was just stalking. I'm looking at this one as a tight risk box here, where we have a the peak of the RL10, and that's part of a Kata 2s to the downside. That's all pushing this thing down. And we've had uh, lower lows, and that's pushing this thing down. So the price is right here now. So all that has to do is break through about 1330, and now you have a collapsing dragon, which is targeting all the way back to here. That's a really nice short side on Rivian tomorrow. We like that one. On the upside, it's not persuasive till it gets above this peak, and that's a large bogey it has to recover from. So I don't like the long side on that at all. Treasuries was a sort of an indication this is rolling over to the long side on equities, because Treasuries, which have had a nice 3 or 4 day run, had this big gap down, then rolled over quickly, and when that broke, we took the standard risk, and that's holding +2 in Treasuries on the short side, and it's already below that previous support levels, and it's testing this key support level all the way back over here at 104. So that one could have some legs tomorrow to the downside. Tesla, Friday's PSAR flip, initially had a nice run up today, then couldn't hold, and then stabilized. And really, there's not much to this one. Maybe a 0.2 in hand, but I will not let that go negative. So I will move my stop up into here. Not gonna let it get below 190 on me. And then finally, U.S. Steel, intraday, like the other metals, has this sort of Kata 2 formation, and it closed pretty well, and that's holding +1. So I'm pretty satisfied with the swing exposure right now in both directions. It's leaning towards the upside. And, just kind of illustrated some of the issues when you're in that tight channel. You can make the argument to take it or not take it. I was just concerned about having too much risk over the weekend. So there we are with that. Let's go to the sniper trade of the day. So we're intraday now, and this is going to be Devon Energy, and it's turbo, so we're on 3 minutes. And here was the close on Friday, and here was the gap up opening, and then this establishes the OR3, and then after it closed and started selling off, we get the short here, and we're going to have a standard risk box like this. And we're looking to get back to the close from Friday, so that actually gives a nice 2R potential reward to the downside. Check or hold. Standard OR3. It sells off almost to our first target down here, and then starts to recover, and I gave back that much and only kept that much. So I gave back about 2/3 of the open gain, but this is about a 0.5 compared to the risk box. So I was holding on to it longer, hoping that it would resume this move, but it never did. But we got out of it with the gain, so I'm happy about that. Now this feels like a Kata 2. Oh, excuse me. Because we have this, and now we have that, and the PSAR is holding. So standard risk is right there. And if it breaks above, let's say the high of the day, then it gets very interesting. So that would be the tactical space. And all I have to do in the tactical space is get my risk out and above my entry so that I can lock in that little no lose plus dinner for 2. That's what I'm trying to get, is that wedge. No lose plus dinner for 2. Grinding north, but then it comes back. And after 6 bars, and it could not get above the, the OR3 earlier, I just decided to scratch it. On a better day, I might have been able to get in here for a no lose, but I was happy just to scratch, and now stop and reverse. And then that doesn't do anything. It gets, it gets down this far and reverses. So I stop. I think I stopped and reversed again. I actually waited for that PSAR flip. So this long kind of petered out, and then this short kind of petered out. So netting 0 on all that. Free lottery tickets. That's how I look at that. 2 trades that were in a posture to be able to succeed, and it just didn't follow through, and I was able to exit with no loss. So I'll take those all day. So now the stop and reverse again with the PSAR flip, standard risk once more. This one is feeling like a COTA 2 because we have 2 higher lows now. And this is the waiting for the PSAR flip. Now it's starting to get traction. Now I'm at the 2R battle drill. So I add a second position. And it has cleared that high of the day. So now this feels like an up. So now we've got 2 positions in and working hard. It has a bit of an R10 wiggle right here. That little sell-off barely penetrates the dragon and resumes, and it gives me another R. So I just hit it again because it's not near a range stat yet. But then it has 2 runs at it. This one could only get that high, recovers, and this one tries to run, can only get that high, and it's starting to sell off. It comes through the dragon, so I take that right there. It had 2 chances to really go, and it didn't. Both cases, it sold off. So the PSAR then sort of tells you, all right, you did your job. You gave it a chance. It elected not to. And you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him think. Is that right, my brother? So let's count them up. So here's 1 unit of risk. And on the first position, you got plus 1, 2, 3, 3.5. On this one, you have 1.5, so 1.5. This one is basically a scratch and pays for your commissions or whatever, so we'll call that one a 0. This nets out to 5, plus a little taste and 2 scratches. And I think that was it for the day on this one. Yeah. I'm sorry. We had we had 1 more COTA 2, and that really didn't go anywhere and just rolled over. So that's basically a scratch also. And then, so you get about 5 net out of that effort, and no overnight risk. Devon Energy for the win. That also converted. That 5R converted to a swing, as we saw on the swing portfolio. And that one looks like this. As a reminder, that's this is that that's what a 5R that 5R move looks like on a swing, and then on the 30 minute, that's about +2. Okay, but on the day trade, that yields 5, and you get that because of the different sizes of the wrist boxes. All right, let's go to the traders. So here's Dan. This is some swing trades, and this is in gold. This is a daily and a 30-minute frame that he's looking at. And let's see, 22, 13. Yeah, this little sell-off right here is this one. And he gets a Kata 2 on the 30 minute, so he's able to hit this. He takes a piece off here and another piece off there. And so on this tight little risk, he can get about 2R. And then on the longer one as a swing, he could collect 4.7 and still keep the swing. So that's a pretty nice piece of work. On his CVS, again, he's got, this is looking like a daily. Oops, that's a daily. And this is a 30-minute. And this little piece right in here, which doesn't look like much on the daily, is actually a collapsing shelf right here. So after the gap down, and then it stabilizes, and then it collapses further, he hits that one for the intraday, and he sells 3/4 of the turbo to cash 1.8, and then keeps a piece, and then into the following day today, and he just takes that one as an exit. It failed to fail further, so he gives it that much room and then takes it off here. And if this had shown signs of failing further, he could have taken the 1.8 position that he took off from that move and put it right back on and helped push it lower. So nice work combining the daily and the 30-minute. Coaching is paying off. Tim, this is just a lesson in timing. We've got some oscillation into a compression, and then just as you stop trading, we get a Kata 2 for the big win. That just is an opportunity to manage emotions. Same thing is happening here. You might look at the time of day that you're trading and say, is this when the U.S. market is active and pushing? And is this the overnight session? If that's the case, you're not getting volume and big follow-through moves until the market opens and the industrial strength comes in. So take a look at your timing on the time of day. However, this is still pretty good job of risk managing here and getting paid, and it's still 0.6, even with only this one move being the winner. But you can see that if you can get this with a nice tight stop here, you've got about 1, 2, 3, 4 to the upside against 1 unit of risk that is going to get you paid. Intel, this is also this makes me feel like that's when the U.S. market is open and it's moving. I like that trade. This one, I think we should have been able to get out of that sooner than down here. Although that's not bad. This one, I feel like you got out of that early to help offset some of those earlier losses, like on this one, and so we end up missing the move. Nike just, dude, it doesn't need to be on your short list. It's on our portfolio list. And when that PSAR flips, this should be set for an alert so that when that PSAR breaks and you've got the PSAR flips and I should say the VWAP breaks, man, oh man, oh man. I mean, you got paid a couple fractions in here, but man, the big moves. We got to find those movers. The same thing here. These collapsing dragons and VWAP collapses. And here's another collapsing dragon out of this shelf. And you did get this one, which is nice. So hang in there. Keep marking them up. Look at your time of day. Here's Luke on the DAX with 3 minutes. I like the collapsing dragon. He has to get out of that for 0.7. Reasonable reentry. I think that gave back, especially being 0.7 in the, in the hole. I might have tried to capture more of that in here and maybe be at the 1-2 exit. And then, quite obviously, in retrospect, standard trades for big money. Oh, man, look how good the PSAR is. It's your buddy. DAX 3 minutes loves the PSAR. Those of you in studio audience land. Woj using his there was a very nice exchange between Woj and Luke on refining the intuition, and with 3,500 plus trades in hand, there really is such a thing as intuition. As Woj is saying, look, this thing had a nice big run, a second leg up that wasn't as good and half as long, and then the third one started to stifle. So his spider sense says, get out of it here. I mean, look at the size of the capture in the green versus the give back in the blue. That's how good that intuition is. And even here, this is pretty good stuff right there, that he feels it to here and only gives back, a third of it. That's good work. 2.2 and 3.1 for 5.3. All right, dashboard 1. We're still in this sideways normal, so close to the 200-day moving average. Still risk off, so we want to prefer a bird in the hand to 2 in the book, or 2 in the bush. But the risk Z has rolled up at a normal level, and the last time it did that led to a really good set of swings to the upside, and that's what I feel like today was an effort to try to do that. Just a couple auto framers in the Dow, some 5DDs here in IBM, 3M, and Pfizer once more. ETFs offering some reasonable rewards to risk. You've got XLP with a breakout. Mexico to the upside and agriculture to the upside. Standard framing and squeezes. In the Godzillas, these are all stealthy Godzillas as volatility quiets. And then PBW and Clean Energy and Rivian still in the quiet Godzilla. Even the one-day movers were not that. This was really kind of a quiet day when the most extreme moves are just at that level. Um, yeah. Well, let me go back one. Sorry. All right. So we're sorting this by the reward to risk in the auto framer. Here's where your 2-to-1 level is. The marijuana, commercial real estate, uh, block Inc. And then here's your metals. Cliff and Alcoa are both relatively favorable on the swing. U.S. Steel is the strongest one by far. Intel to me is poised, like I said earlier, on the swing. Intel to me looks very interesting. 1.6 to 1 had a bit of a sell off today and is postured to have the best swing follow through of any of the semis. Being dominated by the spring, and again, that's when the zero line in MACD, when that MACD line goes down, when it breaks through the zero line, that gets you the winter, and now it's starting, it couldn't fall any further, and now it's slowly getting better, so you get a spring all the way up to the zero line when it becomes summer, if it can break through. So this is potentially the start of a nice growing season. We're seeing that in the Risk Z and in the MACD histogram as well. And we should be ready to work on it. And then the ones that are in best posture to take advantage of the market that is starting to recover would be your tech leaders who are already in the summer. And that's why I think, like, those five right there, Apple, Microsoft, Cisco, Amazon, and Intel, that's old school tech. So I'm liking those. Multi-time frame NDX, you can see that just about everything was excellent today. Coke, McDonald's, Walmart, that's pretty solid. Especially McDonald's, that has the best chart. Mexico's in great shape by all the NDX measures. I really like them. And treasuries are just getting pummeled. Trading values now, top 5 or so still. Tesla, marijuana, clean energy, Devon, and NVIDIA. That's a combination of strong range percentage and strong, consistent frog quality number. The best one in there might be PBW with that beautiful, strong frog. But really, in this, everything that's in the top 10 is a combination of both large ranges and consistent follow through. All right, that's everything we got for today. Let's be ready for them tomorrow. First day back after that long week out in Pittsburgh, and had a great meeting with Chris White from Edge Raider, and we got some projects to help produce some daily reports, doing some back testing and researching with his very powerful tool set. So looking forward to helping develop those ideas. All right, that's everything I got for you. Take good care, and we shall see you tomorrow.